reading he's going off. God, gives you, I'm watching a live stream, he's just sat there tapping away with his new computer while watching rugby.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We are here for round 2 of our Clio Cup, and we're live from Sportsland Sugo in Japan. And it's a sunny day here at Sugo. We're currently riding on board with Pro Fubby, who's provisionally sat on pole position here for this session. This is Tier 2, ladies and gentlemen. The Feeder Series 2 Tier 1, which is coming up at 8 o'clock BST, that's British Summer Time. And see if Fubby can improve on his current provisional pole lap time. He can't this time around. It's actually very close at the front. The gap between Fubby and our man in P2 here, Chris Pissock, is just half a tenth of a second, 53 thousandths. That is I don't think anybody is capable of actually measuring quite how much of a small time gap that actually is. As we see here, Chris Pissock coming out towards the end of the back straight and into this tricky braking zone. It's a right-left sort of section here, and he's drifting a little bit through there. It looks like he's gone wide going into the gravel, and that is that was close to being a yellow flag. Almost spins it, and he's just about keeping it pointing in the right direction. So Chris Pissock finding the limits here. 4 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in joining us here at Motive Racing, be sure to click our Discord link. It will be in the live comments section below in just a moment's time. And this invite will only be valid for the remainder of today, so be sure to get on that as soon as you can. Do it now, in fact, so that you don't forget, and you can join us here in our live races on 5 nights a week, 7 different championships occurring at the moment. There's lots of stuff to get excited about, primarily on Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation 4. In the future, looking to expand at some point, but for the time being we're running on Project Cars 2. That's because this is where it was all started. This is where we all met here at Motive Racing, and it's basically the birth. So here we are. We got Pro Fubby has extended his advantage at the top of the leaderboard, just under 4/10 of a second to the good here of Chris. Pro Fubby, the leader of the pro team, doing a great job. Only man in the 1:31 for the time being, and it looks like he's brought it into the pits. So he's opting for some fresh tyres and maybe a little bit more fuel in that car. He will have time for one more run. I would say he's probably not safe from Chris. The gap in qualifying, 4/10 of a second, as we see Chris coming out of the last turn now and up towards the finish line. Let's see what sort of lap time Chris can do here. Bowie in the comments there saying good luck, guys. Good to see Bowie in the comments section as we see Chris come over the line. And it's not an improvement this time around from Chris, so he stays in P2 for the time being, provisionally on the front row as it stands. Great stuff there from him. We've also got James out there on the track as well. James, very quick driver, seems to be in the France livery by the looks of it, as we see somebody get very loose there coming onto the back straight. We're not quite sure who that is. Still not fully up to speed with my liveries here this season. It's a Monster Energy livery, so we'll try and figure that one out as and when, as we see James coming towards the end of the back straight. A little bit of curve on the inside, but very tidy nonetheless. Let's hope he doesn't get held up here on this flying lap, as we see him taking plenty of curb there, but very aggressive. As we see almost up on 2 wheels there. J Palm says evening, good luck everybody. What track is this? It's Sportsland Sugo, J Palm. Very, very good track for these Clios, and we raced it in the GT5s last season as well. As we see, James is going to get the benefit of a lot of slipstream here. In the meantime, Pro Alpha has put himself up into third place. I think it's Pro Alpha, yeah it is. And here we go, James now coming over the line. Currently sat P4, and he stays P4. Pro Alpha there, the son of Pro Fubby, doing a great job here. Currently sat P3 in this session. We've got Pro Hero also out on the track as well, 1.1 seconds off the pace, sat just ahead of Honey Badger. In fact, James, Pro Hero and Honey Badger are all separated by less than a tenth of a second, so 4th, 5th and 6th looking very, very close. The mid-pack should be a fantastic battle here tonight. Can't wait to see how this one unfolds as we follow Pro Alpha now coming towards the end of the back straight. It looks like Pro Fubby has given up on setting a quicker lap time, so he seems pretty comfortable with the job that he's done so far. Doesn't feel the need to bring it back out and give it another go, as we see Pro Alpha staying off the curbs there on the outside of the turn and going a little bit of a slide there on the entry. Let's see, hope if it can benefit him. If he can get the hammer down and keep it tidy on the exit, then he will have a chance of gaining a lot of time through that. Just getting the car slid into the corner and getting the best possible entry. As we see here, Pro Alpha coming up towards the line now. What's it going to be for him? Currently sat P3 in this session, 6/10 off pole, and he stays in P3. So it looks like Pro Fubby was going to be taking pole position here in this one, unless Chris Pisser can do something about it. James also out there on a lap time. Let's try and figure out who's furthest up the field. It looks like Pro Hero also coming down the back straight. Lizardaroo is going to be the next man over the line. What can he do here in the dying stages at this session? Currently sat 1.3 seconds off of pole position. Comes over the line and stays 7th for the time being. Let's see where Chris is. Or we've got somebody coming over the line there. It doesn't look like they're able to improve. Chris is pitting, so Chris is given up on that one. James and Pro Hero both still out there on a lap time. It looks like James is coming towards the end of the back straight. Pro Hero just coming through the last sector now. In fact, coming through the final turn. So can he put himself up there? Currently sat P5 here, Pro Hero. Spoke with him earlier today. Said he's done a lot of practice for this round and definitely has put in the work in the practice grounds, as we see him come over the line, and he stays P5 for this one. So Pro Hero just over a second off the pace. We've got James coming out of the last turn now. Let's see if he can elevate himself up a little bit more. It doesn't look like it. He's given up. He's bailed out of that one. So James out of this session. Emo Guy still out there. Can he go and improve? It doesn't look like he can. So that is going to be that here for the qualifying session for Tier 2 here at Motive Racing. We've got Pro Fubby starting on pole position with Chris Pissick alongside him, Pro Alpha James, Pro Hero Honey Badger, our regular commentator here. Good to see him out on the track in P6 here. 1.2 seconds off the pace. We've got Lizardaroo, Nathan Rutter, Emo Guy and Gypsy George rounding out the top 10. So ladies and gentlemen, you join us here for the start of round 2 for Motive Racing's Clio Cup. Tier 2 this is, just before the Tier 1 race, and it should be a very exciting race. We've got a closely packed field here for this one. The top 8 separated by, I think, just over a second. So it's a very, very close field we've got here in Tier 2. We've got guys like Pro Fubby, the leader of the Pro team, on pole position. His teammate and son directly behind him on the second row in 3rd place. We've got and then directly behind them we've got Pro Hero, so the Pro team lining up on the left hand side of the grid in formation for the start of this race. We've got Chris Pissock on the right hand side, hoping to be a spanner in the works here for these guys. Also James lining up in 4th place on the second row alongside Pro Alpha. We've got Honey Badger on the inside of Pro Hero as well. Lizardaroo, Nathan Rutter, Emo Guy and Gypsy George a little bit further back here in this one. Hopefully he will be making his way back through the pack during this race. We've got Scrabble Kyrian. Nice to have him out on the track also. I think he was the suspect in the running off the, I think on the coming onto the back straight, we saw him getting a little bit loose onto the curb. We've got DJ Phil Green starting in 12th position on the 6th row alongside Scrabble. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you see here at Motive Racing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. drop a like on this video and hit that bell button if you want to be notified every time we're going live here on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We've got plenty of action throughout the week. Coming up this week, we've got on Friday the GT5 Ginetta Cup. That's live from the Oschersleben. Then on Super Saturday, we've got the GT3s and LMP2s coming up, as well as the USA Series coming up on Sunday night as well. We're about to go racing here at Sportston Sugo for Tier 2. And lights are out, we're underway. Terrible start there from Pro Fummy. Gets immediately jumped on the right hand side there by Chris Pissock, who's up already into the lead. It looks like Pro Alpha also up into P2, but he's got, but it looks like Pro Hero going up the inside. Is that, or is it James in fact? I think it might be James. No, it isn't. It is James in fact. So James there going side by side here with Pro Fummy, who looks like he's had a horrible start to this race. Pro Alpha up into P2, chasing down Chris Pissock. It looks like Pro Alpha's going to go side by side with Chris Pissock. And is he going to go stick it around the outside of him? Yes, he does. Can Chris hold it on the inside though? They're still side by side. It looks like Alpha's going to shut the door on him, and Pro Alpha is up into the lead. Fantastic start there from him. Started third on the grid, already up into the lead. Chris Pissock got the fantastic jump off the line, and looks like he's now trying to hold Fubby behind him, but in the meantime that is allowing the younger of the Alphas to, the younger of the Pro team to stretch out his lead at the front. Already a second, and we're not even half a lap down in this Tier 2 race. In the background, what have we got going on here? It looks like we've got James here trying to defend from Honey Badger. Or is that Honey Badger going up the inside there? A little bit of contact between those boys. James goes wide onto the grass, and in the meantime it looks like he's been overtaken there by Pro Hero, who's had a difficult first lap. In the meantime though, James trying to fend off Scrabble Kyrian, who looks to the inside. Scrabble going side by side here with James. Can he make the move up the inside? Looks like he does. Scrabble making moves here on this opening lap. He's gone from 12th up into 8th position. Fantastic driving from the young lad here in the Monster Energy livery. He's now up another position by the looks of it, and Pro Hero's gone wide. And what's happened here? We've got a spinner in the background. Who is that? Is that DJ Phil? It's DJ Phil and it's Nathan Rutter. These boys coming together there at the end of the first lap. But we've got Pro Alpha in the meantime, who's leading the race just ahead of Chris Pissock. Nothing at all separating these guys. A little bit of a slide there from Pro Alpha as he tries to get the power down. It's not easy to do in these Clios, especially when you've got when you're on a cold track as well. We've got dry conditions at the moment. Whether or not it's going to stay dry, we'll have to see, with the weather looking threatening to say the least. But for the time being, Pro Alpha doing a fantastic job here out the front. Got the perfect start that he needed. Went from third to first in the space of a blink of an eye. And there you've got Chris Pissock now trying to fend off Pro Fubby, who started on pole position, but unfortunately had a difficult start, and he has to really back out of that one. We saw there just trading paint, Chris and Pro Fubby, and Pro Fubby looks like he's got the position here on the inside, coming onto the back straight. Lizardaroo making a low-key nice start here in the background. He's up into 4th position. Can't accept any calls at the moment, I'm afraid, lads. I am commentating as we got Lizardaroo there. A little bit of a slide coming through that corner, and Honey Badger in the meantime, one of our commentators here at Motive, doing a good job. We saw him diving up the inside of James on the first lap, and we've got someone going off into the gravel. That looks like it's Lizardaroo there getting very loose. Is that? I think it is. But let's have a quick look at the comments section. So we got Corey Smith saying, come on lads, let's have a good stream. He's supporting his man Gypsy George, who's currently sat in 11th place. So it's been a torrid start to this race for George. We've got Bowie saying, nice overtake there for P1. Yep, it was good between those two pro guys here. And it looks like Pro Fubby, having got into 2nd place, is now actually he's passed Pro Alpha here for the lead. So we missed that on the stream, but the two pro teammates there trading positions as we see now, but Alpha's not giving this one up, still sticking to his bumper like absolute glue here. Nothing at all separating these two teammates on lap 3. In the background, Chris sticking to them as well, not letting them get away and run off into the distance. And credit to Chris, and we're just seeing on the camera lens potentially a little bit of rain is poised in the air here at Sugo. There it is falling very lightly at the moment. So now the question is, when do these guys make the switch to wet tyres, if at all? It might not come down in steroids, but we just never know. In this part of the world, in Japan, it's extremely unpredictable. Usually when it rains, it really rains. So let's hope there are no typhoons here this evening for round 2 of Motive Racing's Clio Cup. as we see Pro Alpha there going a little bit wide coming out of the last turn, and that is going to allow Chris Pissick to slot beautifully here into the slipstream, and Alpha goes defensive very early. They're side by side here coming down the pit straight. Chris Pissick trying to get the side draft, trying to get as close to him as he can. Alpha trying to put enough space between him so that he can still have a decent entry into the first turn and not compromise his line coming through this first section of the track. You can see there Chris Pissick wisely backing out of that one, and good defensive driving. Wily old head here, Pro Alpha doing the right thing here and positioning his car in all the right places. Lizardaroo still holding off Honey Badger for the time being. Then there's a little bit of a gap back to Emo Guy, who's made a fantastic start here up into P6. Our commentator in the Sunday USA League was alongside me in the commentary box for that one. He's running all by himself at the moment, 7 seconds off the pace. He's put a bit of a gap between himself and Scrabble Kyrian, and a massive shout out to this kid. He's doing a phenomenal job here. Moved up from 12th on the grid and is already up into 7th position. Great to see him really putting in the work. It's a flash of the lights there from Scrabble Kyrian, letting us know that he is watching the stream. So let's hope that he doesn't get too distracted by the stream, and keeps his head down and keeps doing what he's doing here in this race, because it's been a phenomenal performance from him so far. As we see Pro Hero trying to make amends for a poor start here to this race. He's going side by side with Nathan Rutter. Nathan's going to have the inside here coming into turn 5, and it looks like he's done it. A little bit of a lock up there from him as he got the car slowed down sufficiently. But Pro Hero really having a bit of a mare in this one in Tier 2 tonight, as we see the rain is now getting just a little bit heavier. Probably, I wouldn't say it's at the level where we should be thinking about wet tyres just at the moment, but we're getting close. We're getting close. You can just see wet patches on the track starting to form. We're not even close to standing water just at the moment, but a damp track nonetheless starting to form here at Sugo. And in the background, the battle for 4th and 5th still heating up. We've got Honey Badger all over the back of Lizardaroo now. But Lizardaroo not having any of it, not feeling any pressure, and sticking to the task, which is good to see. Good to see from Lizardaroo. Honey Badger though is squirming and trying to find any gap that he can. He's looking for the gap on the inside. That's not big enough there. Honey Badger, oh my goodness me, it is. What a move there from Honey Badger. He's going to go up the inside. Can he keep it on the brakes? Yes, he does. What a fantastic move from there by Honey Badger. I must admit, I was expecting him to take out Lizardaroo there and put it in the wall, but fair play to the lad. Fair play. He's done himself proud there. As we now ride on board with Pro Alpha, who's trying to fend off Chris now. Chris Pissick is in the slipstream. This has been the story for the last few laps, and in the meantime Pro Fubby is doing absolute bits out the front. Got a 2.3 second gap, and Honey Badger now coming under pressure from Lizardaroo. He's not giving this one up, coming towards turn 1, but it looks like he's going to hold him off for the time being. Emo Guy still running in 7th place. We've got Scrabble Kyrian coming over the line, driving the Nick Hamilton's car, the brother of Lewis Hamilton, 6-time Formula 1 world champion. We got Nathan Rutter coming over the line in 8th, and looks like Pro Hero has had even more what's the word, another calamity for Pro Hero. He's dropped now down to 10th place. He's been passed by George now up into 9th place. This race is going horribly wrong for Pro Hero. Had a good qualifying session, but it has not worked out at all. I'm starting to wonder if maybe, just maybe, he's gone for a gamble on the wet tyres. Obviously with no mandatory pit stop in this one. He could just be waiting for the rain to get sufficiently heavy enough to actually be able to jump all of these guys, but we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see at this stage in the race. It's all a waiting game at the moment. But in the meantime, Pro Alpha still holding off Chris Pissick in the battle for 2nd and 3rd as we come down the pit straight to complete lap 6 of this race, sorry. And you could see there Chris having a little look to the inside, but Pro Alpha not having any of it, not being phased by Chris in his rearview mirrors. Also Honey Badger and Lizardaroo continuing their battle, which has been raging on since the opening. That's oh, Lizardaroo slips on the inside. Slips on the inside there of turn 3. And that is Honey Badger. Well, I say into some Clio, not really. It's only a second between himself and Lizard at the moment, so not much of a gap, I would say. Still only half a second separating these guys. So errors starting to come into play here at Sugo. In the wet conditions, the rain is getting heavier and heavier. But still slick tyres, the popular choice here. As we see, Honey Badger's lost the car. Oh, very unfortunate there for Honey Badger. Not sure if it was a left-hander or a right-hander, but yeah, very, very tricky there for Honey Badger. I think maybe needs some wet tyres or some stabilisers on that car. Very unfortunate indeed. As we see, he's actually been passed by Emo Guy. So Emo Guy now up into 5th place, only 12 seconds off the pace. As Bowie says in the comments section, get up front Badger, we need an AC after that crash. And also letting me know that my pizza delivery is calling me. Well, Bowie, as far as I know, I haven't ordered any pizza, but if there's a free one at the door, then I'm more than happy to accept it. But it does look like Scrabble Kyrian. No, it's not Scrabble Kyrian. It's Scrabble Kyrian is actually 10 seconds behind Honey Badger in the battle for, well, this is the battle for 7th and 8th actually, because Scrabble Kyrian is being closed in on now by Nathan Rutter. Nathan last time around 3.3 seconds faster? No, 4 seconds faster than Scrabble Kyrian. And he's only got one light as well, so he's obviously had a hefty whack with the wall at some point during this race. And you see that there are puddles starting to form just a little bit now. The sunlight, when it shines on the track, you can see that there is definitely a little bit of standing water. The spray now being kicked up, and once these Clios start sending up spray, that's when you know that the rain is heavy, because these have got barely any power in them at all. And just seeing in the comments section, J Palm saying Chris has got a chance for the win if he doesn't crash. Well, Chris is the first man to bring it into the pits for wet tyres here. Keep an eye on Pro Hero's lap times, because I have reason to believe that he did not. That I have reason to believe that he started on the wet tyres. So let's see if he can close that gap as the race goes on. It doesn't look like he is actually. It looks like he is dropping back for the time being. We see Pro Fabi there drifting, almost just clinging onto the car. As Pro Fabi, the race leader, going very, very wide there. And it looks like those tyres are starting to really become a little bit of a problem. As he comes through the final turn now, still dealing with it phenomenally well. Is he going to come in for the wets this time around? Surely he is. No, he isn't. Incredible scenes here. Can't imagine he can stay out for much longer with these dry tyres on. Keeping an eye on Chris. Currently running in 8th place at the moment, and Pro Hero looks like he is actually starting to, oh my goodness me, Pro Fubby all over the place now. We've got to keep an eye on Chris and see what sort of lap times he is doing, because Chris has been into the pits for the wet tyres, so his pace should be significantly faster than these boys. So the gap at the front at the moment, 4 seconds between Pro Fubby and Pro Alpha. Does look like Pro Alpha maybe going a little bit better than his dad at the moment in these wet conditions. Is closing that gap so far on this lap. Having said that, still staying at about 4 seconds. What is Chris doing back in? Oh, Chris there running into the back there of Pro Hero. These guys battling over 5th and 6th. It looks now like Pro Hero is starting to come back into this race. Again, my suspicions earlier on that he started on the wet tyres do seem to be making a little bit of sense now. I'm still not sure, but it does look like he's closing. But he's still 50 seconds behind. A pit stop here with a tyre change is usually around 40 seconds. 45 seconds. So at the moment it does look like Chris and Pro Hero are out of the running here in this race, but they are closing that gap massively. In fact, on this lap alone, Pro Hero is closed in by 3 seconds to Fubby and to Alpha, and we said in the build up these guys I'm sure will not be in any way perturbed if Pro Hero was to go on and jump them in the pit stops, because they've been saying all in the build-up they are a team, they win and lose as a team, they're not a team of individuals, they are a team. As long as one of these boys wins the race, that is in a sense a victory for them all. As we see there, Pro Alpha almost just clinging onto the car, dragging it around. But phenomenal car control here from him, and he is closing in now on Fubby. 1.5 seconds, the gap at the front. Are these boys going to come in and chance a tyre change this time around? Chris Pissock, having changed to the wet tyres earlier on, is now 50 seconds behind these boys. They'd have to lap, I think, around 6 seconds a lap faster than those guys if they want to actually pass them. And you see here, Pro Fubby's lap times seem to be pretty much fine. No, sorry, Pro Alpha's lap time seems to be pretty much fine. 143 from Pro Alpha. Fubby doing 146s, so maybe those tyres starting to go off now. Doesn't look like Chris Pissock is not closing as much as he was. 144 last time around from Chris, so actually his lap times are pretty similar to Pro Alpha's. Does look like James is closing onto the back of Pro Hero as well. J Palm there mentioning in the comments that possibly the Pro guys have been running the wet tyres from the start of the race. Well, if that's true, then that is nothing short of phenomenal, especially from those top 2 guys, because they've been leading pretty much from start to finish. I find it hard to believe that they're on the wet tyres. They must surely be on the slicks to have been running at the pace that they were at the beginning. But maybe they've got a setup that's just they've just got a trump card in the setup, maybe. Not sure. Keep an eye on the split times last time around. Fastest guys on the track at the moment are James and Nathan Rutter, but they are 54 and a minute and 7 behind respectively. So it doesn't look like they're going to be in with a shout in this one at the moment. Have to wait and see though. And it looks like Honey Badger and Chris are having a battle here. No, is it? No, hold on. No, it's not. It's actually... Sorry, I do apologise. That's Honey Badger there putting a lap on George. George Very... No, not George. DJ Phil. No, it is George. So Gypsy George there, moving over, being very compliant with the rules and regulations here at Motive Racing. Blue flags are being waved and he does move over, but it looks like he's getting a little bit racy here with Honey Badger maybe, and it looks like he's going to be looking to the inside. Honey Badger goes wide onto the curb and spins round, and George has no option but to unlap himself there, moving back up into P9. And Honey Badger running 16 seconds up the road from Chris Pissock, currently in our final podium spot. It will be good to see if our member of the Motive Racing commentary team can keep in a high flying position here for our tier 2 race for round 2 of our Clio Cup here at Sugo. In the meantime though, Alpha has taken the lead of the race. Pro Fubby really starting to struggle now on those tyres. Look like they have well and truly fallen off the cliff, and Alpha looks like he played the perfect strategy here in this one. Chris Pissock finally looks like he is starting to put some lap times on the board, but it's way too late in the day for this one, guys. He looks like he's 47 seconds off the pace, so barring any ginormous catastrophes in the final 3 laps of this race, he should be able to take the victory here. Pro Alpha, that is, with Pro Fubby coming home in second place, and Honey Badger looking very good for the final podium spot. Here he is. In the meantime though, we've got a fantastic battle here for 5th and 6th. Looks like James and Pro Hero going side by a setup that is not working for him down the straights. He's running high downforce on that Clio, presumably, and James able to hold on to the position. In fact, last time around James 1.4 seconds quicker, so it looks like James has just made the move for track position on Pro Hero. Fastest man on track last time around, James. Oh, as we see Pro Hero there getting a little bit sideways and almost losing the car, but he does hold on to it. Oh, James getting very loose on that curve. It's not easy to do that in these wet conditions. Living life on the edge here. In the meantime though, Pro Alpha leading the race by 4.5 seconds over Fubby. He's lapping 2-3 seconds faster per lap than Fubby is. Big shout out to Seba Stefano for what you've just written in GT3's chat room. It means a lot, buddy. Thank you very much. It's Pro Alpha here coming round the final part of lap 15. Looks like he's going to start one more lap here for the Clio Cup Tier 2 race here at Sportsman Sugo. And you will see the checkered flag going next time around, sorry. Chris Pissock has made his way up into third place. Honey Badger's had an absolute mare last time around, and he's almost spinning the car, coming through. Oh no! Honey Badger there, losing it. Let's hope. Oh, jeez. Oh, that was close. Honey Badger, I thought there was about to run into those guys, and manages to wipe out his left front light as well. Headlight seems to have made a break for it, and who can blame it really? Must be a terrifying experience being sat on the front of that Clio. Nathan Rutter looks like he is closing in on Honey Badger at the moment as we see Pro Alpha onto the last lap. We're going to stick with this battle though and see if Nathan Rutter can get past the Honey Badger. Oh, Honey Badger's lost. Oh no. And Nathan Rutter has to swerve out of the way to take evasive action there. It's all gone horribly, horribly wrong here for Honey Badger on this last lap. Catastrophic end to this race. It was going so well for him. He was running in third place until a lap or so ago. It's all gone up in smoke here. Very unfortunate. 7th position. Still some good points though for him. Good to have him on the track here in tier 2 tonight, and in wet conditions it's never easy in these Clios. But in the meantime, our race leader Pro Alpha is exiting the final turn, and he is going to take the victory here in Japan for round 2 of Motive Racing's Clio Cup in tier 2, responding to the critics in the best possible way. The Pro team taking a 1-2 tonight. Pro Fubby bringing it home in 2nd place. Handshakes all round for the Pro team as they absolutely dominate tier 2 here for Motive Racing's Clio Cup round 2 at Sugo. We've got Chris Pissock. Looks like he is going to come home in 3rd place. He's got some traffic in front of him. Looks like it might be DJ Phil. It is. As Chris Pissock comes up round the final corner behind DJ Phil, you can see the lap car there. Great to see Chris getting a podium here. Good driving, late standing for this race. Didn't really get much practice, but credit to him. James comes over in 4th, bins it over the line. We got Pro Hero coming round in 5th place. A disappointing race for him. We got Nathan Rutter coming round in 6th. Honey Badger looks like he might be passed by Emo Guy here as we exit the last turn now here at Sugo. Is Emo Guy going to look to get into the slipstream here as we come up towards the line? It's going to be very close, but I think Honey Badger's going to hold on. He's just about got it. Enough in the tank. Honey Badger over the line in 7th place. We've got Emo Guy 8th, and that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. So Pro Alpha taking the win. Fubby and Chris Pissock 2nd and 3rd, completing our podium here. We've got James, Pro Hero, Nathan Rutter and Honey Badger. So unfortunate in this race. It all went horribly wrong in the final few laps. Corey Smith saying there in the comments, look Andy, you're not the only guy who can't turn left. I don't know what if he's referring to Honey Badger there or not, but we'll just slide over that one. Anyway, my guy finishes in 8th. We've got Gypsy George and DJ Phil completing the top 10. And that is that, folks. Thank you very much for joining us live on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. If you'd like to get involved, be sure to join us on Discord. The link is... hold on. Yep, the link is... no, hold on. Sorry about this. One sec, sorry. Yep, the link's there, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to get involved in motive racing, go to the live comments section on the right hand side if you're on the computer, and it'll be below the screen if you are on the phone. Be sure to get involved. Thank you everyone for watching. We will see you in around 5 or 10 minutes time for tier 1, where fingers crossed I'll be on the track for that one if I can get my wheel to work. Thank you everybody, and peace.